You know what? I think being an obedient child might be an op, it might be a trap because I feel like it might have turned me into an adult who struggles to speak up for themselves unintentionally. See, I was the good kid, the golden child, the teacher's pet, never really got in trouble, always got good grades, was always really well trusted by my parents. In all honesty, I was generally just really a people pleaser. I hated conflict. I hated negative energy being turned towards me or negative energy around me in general. So I was always trying to do my best to be really accommodating and really good and not be any trouble for others. Hello, beautiful people. Welcome or welcome back to Queen's Clouds. I'm Kimmy, and this is my channel, my little corner of the internet, where I speak about my life as a 20-something-year-old adult who's just trying to make it in this world. And if that sounds like anything that you're interested in, then definitely stick around because today we're going to be talking about how growing up as the good girl turned me into a pushover as an adult. When I was growing up, being obedient, not getting in trouble, not being rebellious, and following the rules, it just made sense to me. It really just made my life easier. You know, my parents trusted me, teachers trusted me, adults were always saying how good I was and how I was so well mannered and so easygoing. And that made my life so much easier because it meant that I got to basically do whatever I wanted. Nobody was checking in or watching on me. People just trusted that I was going to know how to behave and conduct myself. So I got to do basically whatever I wanted. And when I was bad, when I was out there doing things I guess you can consider rebellious, I never really got caught. I was never out there doing anything insane to where I was going to get in trouble or get caught or anything. And I was always pretty careful too. So my reputation as a trusted person, as a trusted kid, was never really tarnished. And as a result, I was never really questioned. Like if I said I was going outside and I was going to go, chill with my friends, they were just like, okay, go chill with your friends. There was no questions about when I was going to be back. I just know that I'm going to be back and I'm going to be fine. So it was really easy for me to get to go out and do the things that I wanted and get what I wanted by being accommodating and following the rules and being the good girl. Like there was no downside to me following the rules, really. There was plenty of rewards for when I did though. I got money, I got a car, I got to go out whenever I wanted, I got trust to this day. So it just made sense then. So in my head, being comfortable, being, not being too outspoken, being very easygoing and a rule follower really became tied to success in my school, in my personal life, like just being good in general just made it so much easier for me to be successful and get the things that I wanted. And I got really good at being able to understand and know what people wanted from me and being able to understand what I could get out of being like a good person, I guess. Not even a good person, what I could get out of being a rule follower. Because obviously, when you're in school, you do well, you get shit. You get good grades, you get to go to like parties, like with the principal, you get like little prizes in class. So it just made sense to just be good at things or just be good in general. I got really good at understanding what people wanted from me and following the rules that people had set forth for me. But I never really got good at stating what I wanted or going against the grain or maybe standing up for myself or sticking up for other people. I've always been someone who would just like try to just keep to myself and keep quiet and not stir the pot. And and so far and growing up as a child, I was rewarded for it. I was rewarded for not stirring the pot, for not being someone who was just too outspoken or too much in general. Like I hated negative attention being put on me. Like there were times where I did get in trouble and it just seemed so devastating for me. Like I that I would just cry and be so sad and feel so guilty about like breaking rules. I didn't necessarily feel guilty about breaking the rules. I felt guilty that someone had put their negative energy on me for breaking a rule. I didn't want people to be disappointed in me, so I have always make sure that I was just doing as good as I can and reaching the expectations that other people wanted. Like, I hated the feeling of people being upset with me. I hated the feeling of knowing that I had put someone in a bad mood or made them shine a negative light on. And I would see like other kids who were in class who were being very, very disruptive. And I can never understand, like they must be really, really strong or really headstrong to be able to just like take that negativity head on, not cry about an adult yelling at them or an adult getting mad at them. Like I could never do that. Like I was about to cry and fold no matter what if an adult yelled at me. So I just couldn't take it. I had to preserve my mentality and my mental because I couldn't take adults yelling at me. And even now, conflict just makes me physically uncomfortable in my body. Like my body feels so unsafe when there's any kind of conflict. Like I just want everything to be set and peaceful all the time, and I'm well aware that that's just not something that's even realistic for life. So it's hard to just have this need for things to just be chilled out because you never know what's going to happen really. So conflict is just something in general that I struggle with, and I know that it just comes with life, but I haven't figured out a way to not care about people being upset with me yet. Like maybe I'll develop a thicker skin eventually though. As a kid, you're taught to only speak when you're spoken to and be really respectful of your tone and your attitudes when you're in rooms with adults, just to be really really respectful around them, and to kind of just like be in the background, like just be there but not be heard. I got really good at that as a kid. I got so good at it, and adults specifically loved me for it. Like you could take me anywhere and I would just sit down and shut the fuck up until it was time to go, because I wasn't trying to get in no trouble. And I already knew that if I started, running around, screaming, or doing things that kids are supposed to do, that I would have got yelled at, or I would have probably would have got my ass whooped. So I just learned to like just shut the fuck up, especially in the presence of adults. So when you're a kid and you need to speak up for yourself, when you're a kid and you actually come across a situation where you actually do need to speak up for yourself and need to actually let yourself be known, it's hard to do that. It's hard to do that on the spot when you've grown up being told you're supposed to be seen, not heard, barely even seen. Don't interrupt what adults are doing, though. Don't question adults, none of that. But then you're also expected to be able to speak up for yourself in certain situations. For example, and this might be an experience that a lot of you have had, but I was in about middle school, 7th grade, maybe I was around 12. I went to this new person to get my hair braided. Now I wanted some nice, sleek, slick, good size box braids. I wanted them to fit my head and I just wanted them to be nice and long. I had gotten box braids before. I already knew how I wanted them to look. I had already sent the picture to the person who was going to be braiding my hair, and I thought I was about to be real, real cute. So I was super excited to get my hair done. Now, I should have known that this was going to go to shit by just where the fuck I was and how the shop situation was set up, because it was in their home, which is fine. Like I don't mind, going to someone's house to get my hair done. I'm used to it actually, but in this particular time, it was in the living room and there were multiple people coming in and out. There were kids running around. People were going outside to smoke. Like it was really just an unprofessional kind of environment. And even as a kid, I knew that this was raggedy as fuck. Even as a kid, I knew, like my mom dropped me off and was like, I'll be back to pick you up. And I already knew, God damn it, this is about to be raggedy as hell. Like, oh my gosh. Honestly, I can't even believe she fucking left me there. Like, what the hell? How you just gonna leave your daughter in this random ass person's house just because they're doing your hair? Like, she didn't know them. What the hell? She's lucky I didn't get fucking kidnapped and trafficked. Whatever. Anyway, so I already knew that this was gonna be a raggedy ass experience probably, but I was like, at least my hair is gonna get done, so it's gonna be worth it. So the lady starts braiding my hair, and I can already tell, like, I can see how the braids are starting to come out. They're really really thick and they're really really stiff, and I'm just like, maybe these are just the back ones that look like that. Like maybe it's gonna get better. But I already knew it wasn't gonna get better, and she just kept on putting these thick ass, stiff ass, heavy braids in my head. And I knew that my head was gonna be super heavy. They were already starting to feel heavy, like I was already starting to like lean. So really I should have said something then, like an hour in. I should have said, hey, I'm not liking how these braids are coming out. They're really big, they're really bulky. I'm not liking how they're turning out. But as a 12-year-old who's been told their entire lives, their entire 12 years to shut up and don't talk back to adults, and be quiet, and been rewarded for being quiet and not stirring any drama up or not causing any conflict, how was I supposed to address this grown ass woman who was in my head? Like, after being taught that for 12 whole years. There was no way in hell that I could say anything about it. So I had to sit there for 5 hours getting these ugly ass braids put in my head that looked like just a fucking stiff ass helmet. And then I had to wear them for 3 to 4 weeks after that. So I just felt ugly for 3 to 4 weeks and I couldn't do anything about it because I didn't say anything. I had never been taught to say anything. It was an awful time and I felt like shit, basically. It's not like I didn't understand, I just didn't want to inconvenience her. She had already done this many braids and I was just so nervous to just even say anything about, her work. Because if I were to say, oh, I don't like these braids, it would be insulting her and I didn't want to insult the adult. I would get in trouble if I insulted the adult. So I just let her put those braids in my head and they looked so awful. They looked so terrible. I was disgusted. I was very much disgusted. Looking back, that moment says so much about my willingness to inconvenience myself or hurt myself rather than inconveniencing or causing conflict with someone else. I was more comfortable with being unsatisfied with a service and being seen as easy than I was with just stating how I felt in that moment. I was just so terrified to speak up for myself then. And I will say that I've definitely grown since then, having to be an adult and make your own doctor's appointments and stand up for yourself consistently and really advocate for myself. Like I've had to grow some sort of backbone. But even now, I still feel like there's hesitation when I have to speak up for myself, especially in a room full of real adults. Like I've never felt like a real adult, and I feel like I'm gonna make a video about this too. But like, I know I'm 26 years old and I live alone and I have a job and I have benefits and I have insurance with a partner and I pay my bills. But like, I still don't feel like a real adult. I still feel like I'm like 19. So when I'm in a room with real adults, I guess you can say, I still feel that anxiety to speak up, that anxiety to let my feeling or my opinions be known. And I feel like I feel really uncomfortable with causing any kind of conflict. So it's hard for me to be able to speak up. And though I've gotten better, like I said, I have gotten better, I still feel and see so many traces of that young girl who was scared to say, hey, I don't like these braids, take these out. Now as an adult, I work in the marketing field, so it's literally my job to bring new creative ideas, to put up different proposals for things that I think would work out for our marketing team, to do presentations, to present stats and things of that nature, and give my expert opinion on marketing strategies for the companies and the brands that I work for. Like, I'm supposed to be an expert. There are people who are looking to me to know things about this specific topic. So if I'm unable to push back when I hear things that are false or when I'm trying to explain myself or explain my thought process on things, it's hard for people to really take me seriously. I feel like if I'm just like being a people pleaser, which I feel like I am, I feel like I do a lot of things and accept a lot of things just so people feel like, I'm easy and comfortable to be around and like I'm an easy person to deal with. Like, I really don't want to have any like negative relationships or any negative kind of interactions with anyone, even though it's normal. Like, just because you have a negative interaction with someone doesn't mean that you have to dislike them or they dislike you. Like, it could just be like an off day, or maybe you just disagree on something. Like, just because you have a disagreement with someone doesn't mean that they don't like you, that you don't like them. Like, it's fine to disagree and have some sort of conflict, and I feel like I need to understand that and be, I guess, exposed to it more for me to get more comfortable. But especially within my work environment, I'm so quick to accept whatever people tell me or give me, like especially when it comes to people giving me projects that are just sprung on me last minute. I'll be like, yeah, I could probably do it. I could probably get this done by this really, really short deadline, when really you should have given me the project before. But I'll still take it because I don't want them to think that I don't care, or I don't want them to think that I can't handle my job. You know what I mean? So I might end up taking these projects that are on these really, really short turnaround time deadlines, and my work suffers for it. Or some of my other projects are late because I decided to take on another project that I didn't have time for, didn't have the energy or resources for. So it's been harder harder than I would like for me to set boundaries like that and push back when I need to push back. I really do think that being a dark skinned black woman definitely contributes to this, because we all know the stereotype that if you are too loud, if you're too much, if you use too much slang, you cuss too much, you get too much attitude, then I'll start to be seen as aggressive. And that's not what I want, because once I'm seen as aggressive, it's just like, oh, well, she's just ratchet, she's just ghetto, and I'm not trying to bring that energy to the party there at the corporate environment. Not that I don't have love for the culture and love for, different aspects of the culture that could be considered ratchet or ghetto. I think there are beautiful things, beautiful style art that comes from that side of the culture, but I just don't see it mixing well within the corporate environment, and I would love to keep them separate. So unfortunately, I find myself overcorrecting. I find myself being more soft, more quiet, more delicate, more humble, so that people don't start to see me as someone who is just loud, ratchet, aggressive, yada, yada, yada. So that's hard too. It just makes it a little bit more difficult. It's just an extra little thing to consider, really. I'm constantly trying to find the balance between being seen as respected and being seen as somebody who is pleasant to be around or easy to work with. I don't want to be too blunt or too assertive, or not be flexible enough, but I also want people to understand and respect that I do have clear boundaries, and it's a balance that I'm still trying to find, really. And since I don't want people to perceive me as too assertive or just too much in general, I often end up dulling my personality. Like, I feel like nobody around my work will really ever know me, because I feel like my personality is always going to be a little bit more duller on there. Like, I'm not going to be as animated, I'm not going to be as loud, I'm not going to be as fun or weird or quirky, because obviously it's a corporate environment and some things just aren't acceptable. But for me, I feel like I have to do more to be acceptable than just, I guess a non-dark skinned black woman would have to do. And it's hard building relationships when you're holding so much of your personality back, because no one knows you. There's nothing for anybody to latch on to, because you're not joking with anybody. You're not showing your real animated personality. I just feel like I'm so simmered down compared to who I am when I'm actually around people who I'm comfortable with being myself around. And it really is a missed opportunity to build relationships, because I feel like it's hard for you to really build any kind of repertoire when you're not giving anything of yourself. You're keeping everything back, and you're just doing the bare minimum. So I definitely want to be more out there, more outspoken, and more myself, so that I can begin to build more connections and relationships and networks with people. And the most frustrating part is that I want to be in a leadership position. I want to be in a leadership role and be able to move forward within my career. But people who are not assertive and people who aren't outspoken, they're usually not seen as confident. They're not seen as natural leaders. I'm not going to be the one chosen to lead a team if I'm unable to speak up and set clear boundaries for myself and give ideas and be open and open myself up more. I feel like I'm going to be missing out on opportunities if I can't, get more comfortable with putting myself out there and speaking what I think is the truth, even if it goes against people who are maybe my higher ups, even if it goes against, people who I think may have more expertise than me. Like, I'm supposed to be the expert, so I'm supposed to be able to speak up when necessary. But when you've grown up your entire life being rewarded for being agreeable, it's so hard to get out of that mindset of, oh, let me just shut up and be quiet and nod my head and smile prettily, and people are going to love me and like what I'm doing. No, it's a huge switch to go from that to being outspoken, put your opinion out there, let it be known that you're the marketing expert. I'm really starting to realize that being nice and being passive are not the same thing. Like, I am not the 12-year-old kid who has to shut up in order to kind of get what I want and be nice and agreeable to get the things that I want. I'm now a 26-year-old, so I do need to change my mindset and be really, really intentional about speaking up for myself and not letting things just fly by the wayside just because I don't want to deal with the negative energy or the conflict that comes with it. Having boundaries does not make me mean. Disagreeing with someone does not make me aggressive. And speaking up before resentment builds is actually way healthier than just bottling it up until you can't handle it anymore, because eventually the bottle is going to pop, and then you're really going to see what aggressive is at that point. I think I spent so much time trying to avoid being difficult that I just let myself become invisible. I just let people start to like walk through me because I didn't want the negative conflict or the energy. I didn't want to make people feel bad. I didn't want people to make me feel bad, but I'm really going to have to start just exposing myself to more conflict and not letting things just fly by me just because I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to become hard or combative. I don't want to lose my softness, but I do want to become someone who is comfortable with stating their boundaries and speaking up for themselves. Like, I want to trust myself enough to be able to speak. I don't want to be like, oh man, something might happen. I hope I can actually be able to speak on it. I just want to be able to speak up when necessary. And I want to be someone who could disappoint people without feeling guilty. Like, I'm not here to make everybody in this world happy or make them feel good. Like, I'm honestly here for me first. So I want to be someone who can say, you know what, this isn't working for me. Stop. You know what I mean? Because little me sat through getting my hair done for 5 whole hours just to have a big ass helmet full of heavy ass horsehair that I had to suffer through for weeks. And I feel like older me shouldn't have to suffer the same fate. So if you made it through this video, I really do appreciate it. I'm so happy that you stuck around for as long as you did. I'll definitely be coming out with new videos, hopefully every other week. I do have a 9 to 5, so we'll see if it's every other week, but I'm gonna try to be a lot more consistent than I have been. And if you did make it all the way through, definitely like, subscribe, and comment to get my videos out into the algorithm just a little bit more so we can continue to build this lovely community in my corner of the internet. Thank you all so much for sticking around and have an amazing day.